Well, as you all might know erroneously, we are not the dark continent that we have been painted to be. If the truth be told, the sun shines brightest on Africa. And so to call us a dark continent is a serious misnomer. Let's also look at why the continent is painted in the manner that it is painted. It takes us back to our colonial masters who set out a strategy that, starting with the Africans themselves, not respecting and believing in themselves and that which is uniquely theirs. A program that was sealed and implemented during the Berlin Conference of 1885. And that is when they divided our continent and chopped it up like a piece of pie into some of the smallest economies, clearly designed to make sure that the continent cannot survive on its own. Small countries like my sister here from Rwanda, we have Togo, we have Burundi, and all by design. A system that then proceeded to teach and let the Africans think that everything that is African and uniquely ours was bad, and that everything that's Western and particularly British at that time and French was better. They proceeded to implement that program of divide and conquer. And sadly, I wish I could tell you that centuries later, the African has woken up and realized what has been done to the African. Creation of OAU in 1963 was an attempt by our Pan-African leaders to regroup and undo the damage that was done to the African. Because Kwame Nkrumah and others realized that for Africa to take its rightful place on the world stage, the gutter of the mind that we have lived in for centuries must be cleaned up. No amount of education, no Harvard degree can save Africa unless the legacy of colonialism, and for those African children who were brought outside Africa in shackles, the legacy of slavery. We must recover from all that. I have sat in many meetings and I have listened to scholars and those who claim to understand Africa. Quite often, sometimes they are not even African. Some have been to Africa a couple of times and suddenly they are gurus on Africa. And everybody is talking about the monkeys and the squirrels in the room. But no one wants to touch the 10,000-pound gorilla in the room. And that is our thinking as the African people. How much do we understand our Africa? Why is it that the richest continent on earth, the go-to place for the world, is painted as the poorest? And I am not going to mince my words. The truth of the matter is the world needs Africa. Africa does not need the world. We have everything we need on earth. We could paralyze the world economies. Take a simple thing. Like we decide DRC can no longer export its coltan. That alone can paralyze the world. So rather than us Africans concentrating on the issues that matter, concentrating on issues that we need to take home, like telling France That 500 billion you're taking out of Africa every year and no more. France needs to be the third world developing country, not Africa. We got some serious issues to deal with, but I call that housekeeping. Because these are issues that need to be addressed by us, the Africans. And in order for us to begin to deal with all those issues, it starts with an African who understands, who gets it. Because the Africans must take what is rightfully theirs, but it starts with us getting our act together. So I appreciate the platform, and I hope to hear more about how we can all come together, but more importantly, the Africans, we must wake up, because we too must take our Africa back. Thank you.